Hey, it's that time again. It's the time you're listening to the Professor of Perseverance podcast. I'm not going to lie to you. I am Dr. James Purdue. But again, don't take that doctor personally, because I can't write out a prescription for you, but I can drive you to your pharmacist and pick them up for you if you need me to. So I can help you out that way. So today, our guest on talking about some overcoming adversity is a timely. Actually, we should have done a little earlier, but it's a timely situation here. Baseball has started, finally kicked off. We're not getting the short version of it like we did last year, and actually people are getting to come to the fields. Not 100% at the moment. I think there's one place, Texas, I
Well,
think, was
Texas
opening up
Rangers
into. Yeah,
about
going to.
38,000.
And so we're going to talk today about COVID, how it affected baseball last year, and how it's going to affect this year, and see how we're going to work things out then. So my guest today is a former All SEC pitcher for the Vols, University of Tennessee. Go Vols! So, and I'm not going to lie to you, I know him personally. So, Jamie Bennett, Coach Jamie Bennett, welcome to today's podcast.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here, James, and good to see you.
Oh, it's always great to see you. And I mentioned to you earlier, I wish we'd had a camera going. And like I said, there was 1,000 cameras over there that day when you and Doug and my brother and me and we all got together
Right.
and should have took a picture of all of us because all four of us, the rarity is we're all four left-handed, as rare as left-handed people are. And there was four of them right there together.
Right.
So
Yeah. And like we said, the only people in their right minds. But
there we go. That's
these
right.
days, it's hard to get four people that have that kind of background together at the same time. Anyway, that all know each other. So that would have been nice.
Well, back in, like we said earlier, back in the day, my brother and I were
The
coaches
day.
in the league, and we got to coach Jamie and All Stars. I got to coach Doug Hall and All Stars, and a bunch of other people. But again, four of us at one time, right there together, left-handed. That was pretty cool and
Yeah.
rare. So from
Yeah.
there,
No,
now
no
Jamie, before we get going any further here, I want to make sure I get me one of these for the people looking coming in later.
doubt.
Jamie's got his own bobblehead. Who all's got their own bobblehead? What's her name from? Who was that? Loyola, that university, and that one that's
Loyola.
101 years old, and she's
Oh,
got her
really?
own bobblehead. Yeah,
Well,
for
I'm getting there fast.
so there you go, and got two versions of you. So
Um, the
so
spring
Jamie,
must
we
be
need to.
broken on one of them. I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe one of them's broken. So actually, there's nothing in front of your feet on the unless that's broken off, but that one here's got some
Oh yeah,
type
it's
of
got our sponsor.
inscription on it.
That's actually our owner's law firm right there. So
Okay, so but Jamie, I got to get me one to put back here, and then I can
yeah,
say I can you can be sitting by the Hulk over here, the Hulk and Michael Jordan.
right. I won't let
Or if
you
you go
upset
the
either one of
go you go the this way, now we'll go this way. It's either you can see Sheldon and
them. Yeah.
what's his name on the Big Bang Theory
Oh, I
bobblehead,
love the Big Bang Theory. I'd like a
Sheldon
lot
and
better
Leonard,
beside Sheldon than I would beside the Hulk and
Sheldon and
Jordan.
Leonard.
So
So, all right, Jamie. So let's appreciate you getting coming in here. Let's go ahead and talk about this COVID thing. What happened
oh
last
man,
year? I know everybody's getting prepared for it. Boy, I feel sorry for all spring sports in high school and summer leagues. I know they kicked off late and they did try something. I know that,
right.
but I really feel bad for the high schools and especially seniors. I would, I would have hated it if I was a senior and I would have lost my senior year from playing. And
Yeah.
but I, what team I really felt bad for was Vanderbilt because they were pre-ranked number one in the country, and would
Right.
have loved to see how they could have played. Of course, they were year before World Series champions, and then they were
Yes.
pre-ranked number one,
A lot of
and then
returners.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I would have loved to seen that team last year, but I really felt bad for them, and again, all the seniors plus athletes that missed out on everything last year.
Yeah, yeah. The trickle down effect has been what really, man. It really hit me hard, or it really struck me. When this whole thing started, last spring. It's hey, we may be a couple weeks late starting the season. You don't know. It's kind of we didn't know what we were dealing with yet. And but once you saw that trickle down effect of guys losing their senior year of high school, you got college seniors that don't know whether to go back or not once they actually were told they could go back, or do they move on to pro ball. And the biggest thing with that college level is the scholarships. All right, we've offered scholarships to freshmen incoming, but we still have seniors on scholarship that we've given another year by NCAA rules. So those guys, they were, they'd passed their limits with the scholarships. So the trickle down effect. Some people abolished their programs even. I think Bowling Green University. There were several, um, but the trickle down effect of what that did from pro ball to college ball to high school was it was a lot more than I initially was even thinking about.
Yeah. So I mean, no one knew what to expect. This is, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
the last great big pandemic was early 1900
yeah. We're
that
talking about the
we
Spanish
had nothing
flu,
to
right?
do with.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so here we are experiencing something that's hopefully be rare for another 100 years or whatnot.
yeah.
Hopefully.
I hope so.
So,
I hope so. It's yeah, it's been quite the impact, and for us personally as an organization, in Schaumburg, where I am in the Frontier League, we were in a decent spot, thankfully.
the Schaumburg Boomers.
The Boomers, yes,
And
uh,
that's up in Chicago.
yeah, just about 20 miles northwest of Chicago,
All right.
nice suburb area. It's we are an independent minor league team. I don't know how familiar everybody is with independent baseball, but it's become a lot more prevalent. We're probably a league of well this year 16 teams, and we 40 to 50 guys picked up to affiliate ball every year. Probably 75% of the league has already played minor league baseball. So the talent's good, the baseball is great, but we were it was tough for those guys, to not get a season, especially once you get to pro ball. Age becomes a very, very big deal. The difference between 23 and 25 in pro baseball is a lot, and guys missing a year was tough for them.
So when y'all were informed that, like I said, your season may start late because of this COVID, not knowing what's going on,
Right.
then you're preparing to start late, and then it comes to you, hey man, it doesn't look good.
Nothing.
And so
Yeah.
now, what do you think? Because now you're trying to keep your players mentally ready, physically to do things the best they could on their own. I guess I don't know if
Yeah.
y'all are allowed to meet, and then you're trying to get them to stay as physical fit as possible and on their
Right.
own, and then you
Yeah.
finally get the word, it's not happening. I mean, how did that go?
It's it's challenging, and it's going to be an interesting spring training this year. I'll tell you that. We report to spring training here in about just over a month, which is about 2 weeks later than normal, which also COVID related. Things are pushed back just a couple of weeks. I may have said months, a couple of weeks later than normal. But we're planning to open up May 27th. Still planning on playing a full 96 game schedule, which is nice. But we had that delay last year. We were working into, hey, we're not going to start in May. We know that. We're looking at June. Then we're like, if it gets past July 4th, I don't think it's going to happen. And that's obviously what the result was. Um, but the trickle down effect, last year's ML, as far as independent baseball, a lot of guys have already played minor league baseball or just recently released from minor league baseball. The Major League Baseball draft last year was 5 rounds as opposed to the normal 40. So
Yes,
there's a 35 rounds of guys that would have been normally moving on to professional baseball that didn't. So there's a lot of players out there that looking for jobs, trying to figure things out. But also we were about 90% done with our roster for 2020. Here we are, 90% of a roster. They don't play, and that's been the challenge this offseason. Is we've had a handful of players that just shut it down. It's, hey, I'm a year older. I had to start working. These kind of things. Had to find a real job, as we call it. When
that's
you're in
right.
baseball, you got to find a real job. Can't do this baseball stuff anymore. But
Hanging
you
at
know,
baseball as long as possible.
yeah, and I'm still trying. I'm still
That's
trying
right.
to. But yeah, these guys, we had signed to 2020 contracts that are coming back, or that played for us in 2019 and we're coming back. Those guys haven't had game live action. Most of them, there's been a few random things here and there, but it's been 18 months. Usually our off season is about 7-8 months, and they think that's long. This has been. So it's interesting. It's going to be an interesting spring to see. Our spring training lasts 2 weeks, and we go. So,
Now you're really going to find out who's been disciplined
yeah,
to
we're
do
going to see
things at home on their own.
exactly. It's never been left up to a player on his own more than it has been, through this stretch to keep themselves as ready as possible. And it's a difference. You got players from New Jersey and you got players from Arizona. Guys in Arizona are probably going to be a little bit easier to get some work done. But so it's some challenges for the guys.
Yep. So, and we're talking with Coach Jamie Bennett of the Boomers. How many years you been coaching there now?
This will be 2020 was supposed to be 2021. Will be my 9th year managing there.
Ninth year and won 3 championships.
Yes, sir.
3 championships and Coach of the Year.
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
It's
so
smoke and mirrors.
you're
Smoke and
getting like wine, getting better as age, huh?
mirrors.
So
Hopefully at my job, not looking.
there you go. That's right. So again, we're talking with Coach Jamie Bennett with the Boomers again, and so with this COVID, what are y'all expecting about fan wise? What's going on? Hey,
Yeah,
and Jay, thank you for
that's a
coming in, Jay. You got Jay, a buddy of mine again, Jay. Hey, a little baseball talk today. Yes, sir.
I see a big UK in there.
That's right. He's a big UK fan. Big Jay is.
I signed a kid from Kentucky this past season.
Oh, I thought you would give his name, so I was waiting on you.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't know if I was going to hear from him. Luke Becker. Luke Becker is the kid's name. Played at University of Kentucky and played a couple years in the Padres minor league system. But
Yeah, Jay, he's a big UK fan, big one. So fell not a little bit, not a whole lot, but little for the basketball with Kentucky basketball this year,
yeah,
down the way they were. But Kentucky, they'll bounce back pretty quick, and they'll be
it's
back where they're supposed to be. So
best
Jay, thank you.
freshman
A little
class in the
baseball
country.
talk today. So all right, so we got to interrupt you there,
No,
Jamie,
you're
but
fine.
so what is the we had mentioned that in what you would say was Texas had a huge
Oh,
amount
yeah,
that they let come in,
30,000.
but most of them are limiting what 10-20% of the capacity.
Some, yeah, and I'm not even 100% sure. It's different, obviously, state to state, what everybody's protocols are. Right now, where we are in Schaumburg, just outside Chicago, and we are in Cook County, which is the same county as Chicago. Think, I think we're at about 50% right now. But and that's the challenge. Major League Baseball, TV contracts, all those things, they can kind of survive. Minor League Baseball needs fans, and
Exactly.
and that's been the challenge. We were fortunate enough that in Schaumburg, our stadium actually, without the minor league season last year, every team was allowed a taxi squad, as they called it. They had about 50 guys working out at a particular site near their hub, Chicago, Diamondbacks, Arizona, whatever. But we were fortunate enough the White Sox used our stadium for their taxi squad. So revenue wise, that helped our organization. It was some income. We rented out because high school graduations couldn't happen indoors. They were renting our stadium for those
Yes.
kind of things. Drive through graduation. So there's a lot of those kind of things that these minor league clubs had to do to survive. We were fortunate with the White Sox thing for sure, and they're actually using our stadium as we speak because the minor league system was bumped back a month this year. AAA hasn't started yet. AA hasn't started yet, so they don't have those players for the major leaguers to call up from if they need it through that system. So we're still doing a taxi squad for about a month, and they're doing that in Schaumburg again. But that's been a big one for our organization in particular. But as far as fans go, yeah, I think about 50% right now is where we are. They're hoping to be 100% by maybe 4th of July, and that would be big. You get into the summer when school's out and kids are out going to games.
Yes, that'd be huge.
Yeah, we need attendance,
Yes.
and that's a big part of it. So,
I've been known
but
to be caught
anything's
at
better than
the
last year.
Nashville Sounds before, so to
Yes.
support our local sounds there. So I've been known to catch a game, as they would call it.
Yes, actually, random enough, my first championship in 2013, I was managing against
Oh, wait a minute! I
the.
got to stop you, Jamie. You got
Yes.
to do 2013 like my grandfather.
Oh, in
It was
20
the year
and
2000 and
20 and 13, I
there
believe
you
it
go.
was. Yeah. It was our first championship in Schaumburg. The manager for the opposing team, which at that time was Florence, Kentucky, was Fran Reardon, who was the manager for the AAA Oakland Athletics in Nashville just a few years ago. So it was kind of a little bit of a nice homecoming. I went to see him in Nashville, and my first home game in Schaumburg was managed against Fran, and we played against each other. So kind of a small world. Unfortunately, the A's were only here for I think a couple of years, and
Yeah.
so I say unfortunately for me, but now the Rangers are there. But yeah, I mean that stadium's unbelievable though in Nashville.
Yeah, there was
I'm
one
glad to see
one
that.
game where Ricky Henderson was coming in as a spot guest,
Oh,
and
beautiful.
I found out that morning, Sunday morning, and I called my brother and Scott Bone, and
Mm-hmm.
we all of a sudden ran to the get up there by 2 o'clock, or I think it was, so we can go
Right.
watch the game to catch him, to
Yeah,
see Ricky Henderson.
that's
So
awesome. Yeah.
so
I still remember the bright green Mizuno batting gloves. He was one of the first people going neon green.
yeah, so
Those late
all right.
80s, those late 80s A's.
All right, now, so what's the testing going to be like for you and your players?
Testing. Now that's an interesting one, and we're still in the works of that right now. I know our general manager is, he's pushing for guys to get vaccinated. We're kind of trying to go off MLB protocol, um, and tough, you can't force anybody to get vaccinated.
No,
Nobody's forced to get vaccinated. MLB right now, and this is, I don't know how much of it's going to trickle down, but those guys that are vaccinated in MLB right now can kind of live their normal life. The guys that are not, you're limited to the hotel and the clubhouse almost. I got good friends. One of them actually from Columbia, Tennessee. He's the big league hitting coach for the Milwaukee Brewers. I coached with him. His brother, who I know very well, is the farm director for the Giants. Well, in Arizona in spring training, those guys are 20 miles apart and they couldn't even see each other.
wow,
Based on protocol, they just couldn't
yeah,
go out. But guys that are starting to get vaccinated can get out and kind of live their normal life. So, what our protocols are going to be yet, they're still working on. I know we're urging guys to get vaccinated. And that's the tough part. I'm sure it's going to happen in the workforce in general quite a bit. This is what you have to do if you're not vaccinated. If you are, you can do this. So we'll see. But it's a complicated situation with guys sharing hotel rooms, the bus. As we would call it, it's a COVID hotspot. You get 30 guys on the bus.
oh, I can imagine that. Yeah, so
Yeah, so things could spread quick through a clubhouse. So
now
we're
NFL, they were allowed to have extra players in case the COVID, and then they
right,
were replaced immediately. So
right.
do y'all know if y'all are going to be allowed to have 4 or 5 extra players
Well,
hanging
yeah,
around. Just
that's a really
I
good
don't know if they're on
question.
the team or they're like right on standby or something.
Right. Yeah. Well, from what I hear, and this is still in the works, it's going to be more of a standby. You know, the MLB right now has that taxi squad because the minor leagues haven't started yet. We are, from what I hear in our league, we're trying to provide, or I guess, yeah, in a sense, have uh, the number right now is 10 to have 10 players that are local. Um, you know, I don't know what the radius is, the mile radius, but have 10 players on a list that we can call and say, I need you here tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, fortunately for us, Chicago area, there are some of those. But, you know, the tough part for some of these clubs, you know, we've got teams in, well, we got teams in Canada, we got teams in St. Louis area, you know, some of those should be fine. But, you know, Southern Illinois, Marion, Illinois, small town. Evansville, Indiana, not the biggest town, but you know, if it's got to be a certain mile radius, those 10 players available could vary a lot from one club to the next
Oh yeah.
on what's
Oh
actually
yeah.
there as far as talent goes.
Now, could you? I mean, I guess it'd be up to the players. Could you say like pick someone from Tennessee and they just kind of move up there into your radius, or do they already have to already
Uh,
be in that
oof,
area or
man.
whatnot?
It may be early to figure that out, but yeah. Well, the tough part is living. You know, a lot of these minor league players, they live with host families.
Yes, yes. It's
We
not. They're not getting the paycheck of the
No, they're
MLB.
not getting the paycheck to get the condo downtown. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
you know we rely on host families a lot. We got a college nearby that helps out a little bit, especially this year, and that's been another challenge. Host family, you know, the families that volunteer to host. You know, we've always had plenty. That obviously dropped off. You know, having a stranger that's been around 30 other strangers living in your house with a pandemic,
yeah.
it's a concern for some families. So you know, it's been a challenge just trying to figure that stuff out too.
And it doesn't matter baseball, any type of sports or not or anything like that. Um, almost everybody, I guess anybody, is prone to catching this COVID. They say the young ones are the one least resistant to everything, or least of vulnerable to it.
Right.
And you happen to have what to home with you?
What's that?
You happen to have who at home with you?
Oh yes,
Quarantined?
I have a 7-year-old back here throwing plastic golf balls off the ceiling right now. That is quarantined from school because somebody in his class had it. Yeah, it's yeah, the quarantine and the it's like we said, the trickle down effect, and you know, it's you know, obviously, yeah, like you said, it's not just sports. The whole country with you know
Yeah,
having to
it's
work, stay home with kids. It's a challenge.
so I don't understand why or who or how this COVID come about. I mean, you hear and read where it possibly originated from and how it got out and everything, but why would someone want to design anything like that other than evil? I would have no idea, but
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to me. So I I wear my mask and hope that
so
I
do
don't
I.
get it. And I've taken my 2 shots. I'll be fully vaccinated through my body next week.
Me
So
too. Next Friday.
mine's be Wednesday.
Okay, yeah,
So
next Friday is
yeah.
my second shot. So, and my wife teaches. She's a
Well, no, I took it. I got my second shot
oh,
nearly 2 weeks ago. It just
okay,
when
so
you get
you're
your
good.
second shot, it takes about 2 full weeks for your
Oh,
body to
right.
build up all those rest of the
The
antibodies in there.
antibodies. Yeah,
And so yeah, so it take
right.
after you get shot, it'd be about 2 more weeks for you're
Yeah,
officially with it. Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah. So yeah, I'm in between. I get my second shot next week. My wife's a teacher. She's done. You know, my parents are older. They're done, and you know, it's like I think everybody else just trying to live normal again.
AQ, come on in, buddy. Hey, he said, "What's up, boys?" Hey, AQ, we're talking Angry Quad. He goes by the Angry Quad. So AQ, hey, we're talking some baseball and COVID today. So all right. So AQ, he's not even considering. All right. So hey,
About the vaccine.
I'm assuming it means not even consideration. I'm assuming he means no vaccination for him.
Yeah,
So
and I tell you
that.
what,
I mean,
that's
everybody has their choices. Everybody.
yeah.
I mean, I won't hold that against you, big boy. So I
No,
appreciate you coming
that's a
on.
challenge with our players though. Is I actually reached out to a couple players already and kind of gave them the heads up that you know the organization is urging it. Um, can't make anybody do it, but it could make a difference in how you live your summer. But
Yeah,
it's just a choice, and that's what it is. Like, if you want to be in your hotel in the clubhouse only, that's what it could look like. I don't know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. So,
it's where we're
um,
at in life right now, isn't it?
well, yeah, it's neither home to the store and doctor's office and back home. So,
Right.
with it. So, um, yeah, early with these vaccinations, people sending the word out that the government's implanting computer chips into you and it's
Oh
going to
boy.
alter your DNA. And
Yeah,
so
my
I getting
third
my
arm.
shot. Yeah, I got over, got my shot and everything. And I'd mess with the one giving me the shot. And I would say it loud enough for the people waiting to
Of
hear.
course you did.
I'd go like this. I said, now, you did read my application. I checked mark no computer chip like
Right.
that. And of course, it's not on there. And then I look over and there's
Yeah.
people over on the other side. They're rereading their
Starting to get worried.
application.
Yeah.
Yeah, rereading
Starting
it.
to get worried.
I
Is that
said,
in
don't
here?
give me the one that's going to change my DNA
I
like
don't.
that.
I don't. I don't want to grow a third arm. I don't.
Yeah, yeah. Or I don't want to have a child, with a third eye in the middle of the head. So
Right.
yeah. So, but I'd say it loud enough, and then you look over and see these people. They're rereading their application that before the shot to see if they had
Yeah.
checked those.
Is that on here?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't see that at the beginning.
It's like I just signed. I don't.
Hey, this is a topic right here, AQ, that you're mentioning. Yeah, because of COVID, passports. Yeah, the government's trying to push these passports and
Yeah.
having or not. I don't know if legally they're allowed to do that. I don't know the laws per se. I'm not in the government, but I do know that HIPAA law allows people to know about my medical records,
Yep.
and so this would violate my rights right there by doing that. And
Right. Yeah. That's a man. That's a lot of gray area with that one,
yeah,
isn't it?
exactly.
Well, I
So
heard. I heard Canada just had is having a really bad like third outbreak, and um, I think they're not getting the vaccinations through like they wanted. Well, we've got four teams in our league in Canada, and that's been a concern. Fortunately for us, specifically, we're in a different division. We have two divisions, and because of COVID this year, they try to keep uh, most of the schedule just within your own division. So
mhm,
we don't go to Canada this year. But now the other division, which has 8 teams, four of those teams are in Canada. So if Canada shuts down the border, which is very possible, there's
mhm.
Winnipeg. Winnipeg, Canada's in another league of independent baseball. They're having to play their first 2 weeks out of Milwaukee.
Yeah, that was tough with the college football this year. Most of them played within their own. And can you imagine an
Yeah.
all SEC schedule? I mean, as
Oh,
tough as SEC is in football, and
especially when
your
you're
schedule
evolving.
is the whole thing.
Especially when you're evolving.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
These
And
days,
then
it's really bad.
Vol Vanderbilt, all these other teams struggling. You
Oh yeah.
know,
Let me
this would
let
have
me
been a
finally.
great year. Would have been a great year for Tennessee if they could have pulled a couple of them victories out
Yeah,
to
a
show
couple of
they're
them.
on the right spot.
Yeah, or
But
just
then
maybe get a couple
something
more
else happened other
UABs.
than
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
that's a tough schedule.
yeah, that would be a big. And I'm sorry, people can don't yell at me, but I mean you can write all you want to. I don't believe that Ohio State should have been there with only 5 or 6 games when everybody else has played 10.
That's
And and even though it worked out for the best for Alabama, but physically they weren't beat up at
it's
half the schedule
yeah,
compared to an SEC or anybody play 10 games,
yeah.
and they're
I
they're
agree.
beat up twice as least. And I mean they really had the advantage going in. It
Yeah,
just Alabama was just so strong this year.
not about it. Yeah, and there's so many sides to the way you look at that, but I agree. I mean, I'd like to lean on the side of the guys that have played the schedule and put up the numbers. Now, there's also the side, I guess, of like you said, it's out of their control though. They can't help
Yep.
it, but neither can the other team that played 11 games and
Yeah. So
improve their worth.
yeah, I was very against that just for the
Hmm.
physical. differences on the
Yeah,
beating
the toll it
taking.
takes on those guys. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So that was the only thing. Other than that, I just wish it would have been a better game. So,
Yeah,
so
it wasn't.
Alabama was just so stoked this year.
Oh yeah, it
So,
was kind of like the NCAA basketball championship. After
oh wow,
such
what a
exciting games,
turnaround!
and then the final game just wasn't quite what you hoped as far as the game goes.
I wish I wish I would have wish I'd have put my lunch money on Baylor in that championship
Oof.
game. My
Yeah, I don't
lunch
know what the
money.
odds were, but I would assume Gonzaga was quite a bit, huh?
Yeah, I would think the odds would have been yeah. So, all right, Jamie. So, other than the still unsure of several things before you start your season, and you
Yeah,
know as well as I do, things are subject to change at any time,
always.
even during the season on what's going on. Depends if we have our fourth run, fourth stage of this going on,
Yeah,
the pandemic. So, man, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Just do the best we can, move
yeah.
forward,
I think
protect yourself as best as possible. So,
yeah, and that's what it is. It's not about just me getting it. It's about giving it to somebody else, and you try to stay away from those things. And bottom line is, if it takes this and it takes that to get back to normal, I'm kind of up for it. You just want life to return back to normal, but I think all in all, like in 1 year's time, a lot has been done, and people are starting to learn to live with it and do what needs
yeah.
to be done. And when it got really bad, I was a little concerned about this season. So, but looking like we're going to have one, and we got a schedule out, and report dates are there, and everything. I'm excited to just get on the field again.
There you go. Hey, Q, see you, buddy. Got to get back to training. I understand that. And
Yeah.
tell Miss Mary we say hello as well. So, all right. And now let me get to this point here because I've seen on TV, just TV and watching ESPN and stuff like that. No, I don't get anything from ESPN, but you can drop me a check if you want to since I mentioned it. So, but watching all the coaches, so you're going to be wearing a mask while you're trying to yell to your players across the field. Do you have certain amount of time you'll be able to pull your mask down and have to put it back up?
Man,
How's that? And on the field, I haven't seen masks wearing on the field, but are
not everybody.
yeah, I'm gonna say very yeah. You seem like you see one or two, but not everybody. So
Yeah,
it play as long as you're on the field playing, you can or can. You don't have to, but you
yeah,
can.
and that's
But if you're on the bench, you have to have it on if you're not
that's what MLB
participating.
is right now. Yeah. Now our protocol, I don't know if it's going to be the same. I would assume they're going to encourage at a minimum in the dugouts. And that's some of the stuff. We have protocols in place for last year that just never happened. I mean, of course, last year things were worse, no vaccinations. But if we'd have played last year, we have a 24-man roster. We were talking about having to bring in 8 guys at a time into the clubhouse. Like 8 guys come in, get dressed, get out to the field. Then the next 8, then the next 8. Just to keep everybody from being in a closed-in space. And baseball, fortunately, is one of the better sports as far as not being everybody being indoors and close
Not
contact.
close to each other.
Yeah, so the
Yeah,
outdoor part of it, helps a lot. Yeah, so we're still waiting on protocols as far as that stuff goes to see. I think clubhouse stuff will hopefully be normal, but again, I think it's all going to come back to who's vaccinated, who's not. If somebody gets it, what are we looking at? Those kind of things are going to be tough on the field. They were even talking about going away with the lineup exchange at home plate last year. No
okay.
no meetings on the mound last year, which for me as a manager is like it's like that's all I get to do once the game starts almost.
That's
But
right. That's right. So,
make a few decisions here and there. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But man, hopefully we're moving in the right direction and everybody's
and we'll eventually get back to normal. I just hope it's quicker. Hope it's not another 2 years of this stuff, but we'll
yeah.
eventually get to it.
I
So,
hope so.
and we're talking with Coach Jamie Bennett for the Boomers. So, hey, thank Jamie for being here. Now, Jamie, let's finish up here. That Well, there's people struggling today. Something's going on with them. If you give them some powerful message, some inspiration to help them get through today, what would you tell them?
Yeah. The biggest thing, with any kind of challenge, I think, obviously we specifically talk about baseball and those kind of things, but life in general, everybody deals with it, is not to think of it as a sprint, but it's a marathon, and do a little at a time. If things are bad today, tomorrow could be different, but that's a choice we have to make. Whatever we can do today to make tomorrow better, I think it is a big part of it. It's kind of like going through a slump in baseball. You know, you're going to go through those slumps. You're going to go over, 0 for your next 10 at times. And struggle. But you know, just be consistent in your positive approach. Stay consistent with a positive approach, and things will change.
There you go. Things will change. Things will get better. Get those, like I said, the small victories and build on top of those and
Yeah,
to move
yeah.
forward.
Don't look too far ahead. Just the next day.
That's right. That's right. Just the next day is all we need. We get through
Mm-hmm.
the next day, then we get through another day, and we'll get better as things
Yeah,
go on.
we should be thankful for everyone we get.
There we go. That's right. Jamie, thank you for being here. Appreciate it today. Jay, thank you for coming in. AQ, thank you for coming in. Everybody else coming on the replay, hey, thank you. Share this out, this message. Again, showing some hope and everything that's coming forward from this COVID going on, especially in baseball and everywhere else, but what they're trying to do. So, anyone else that needs some type of help and everything, my book just came out with Your Past Doesn't Have a Future, but You Do. Create your future today. Go to my website and you can sign up for a mini course, free mini course on Your Past Doesn't Have a Future, but You Do. And you can get a ebook of the ebook of the course there. So from there, so just go to professorofperseverance.com. Everybody else, thank you for coming in. Do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.